Hello, this is Janek Vasek from Vasha Photography, and in part one of this video we did a comparison of Phottix triggers and speedlight to Canon triggers and speedlights, and we had a quick session in that video, and this is our selected image. So in the previous video we did a very quick walkthrough how I edited this file. In this video we will focus solely on editing and both the raw file and in Photoshop all the techniques that I use in a little bit more details. So these are all the photos that we shot during this short headshot session with my wife Sasha. As you can see, we did 43 here are the 44 files, but since there's already one Photoshop file, so we did really 43 photos during that quick session. I quickly selected the ones that I liked. I'm going to filter just by, and I marked them with 1 star. So these are the ones that I selected that I like the most. So this is raw 1, this is our raw 2, so these are the 2 different photos that we selected. We ended up editing this one, and this is what we're going to walk through. So let me open first this file, the raw file in Adobe RAW, so I can show you what raw adjustments we made in Adobe RAW. We didn't do anything extreme here. I adjusted the exposure just tiny bit by 0.05. The exposure was practically spot on. I brought down the highlights a little bit, so you can see that as you move the highlight, the histogram on the right side changes, a little bit to the right or left. I like to have the details in the skin in the highlights, so that's why I usually bring back those highlights a little bit. And the same with the white one. So this just moves the histogram a little bit to the right, but it just gives you a little bit more texture in its skin. Blacks I put also -10, just tiny, a little bit more contrast. And shadows I open it up by +34. Let me show you what was before, and I just open up. If you move, it just basically opens the shadows a little bit. So I kept it here at 34. I adjusted the vibrance +8, so just to give a little bit more saturation, but at the same time I reduced the saturation by -5. So vibrance just adds saturation to the colors that were undersaturated in this photo, and then I bring down the saturation a little bit down so that it's not oversaturated. I didn't do anything in the curves. In the sharpening, as always, I bring the masking a lot to the right, and if you press the Alt key and click on this little slider for masking, it will enter into the masking modes. So this is what you will see, and this is basically to show you where the edges are. So it starts like this. This is at the beginning. This is the default, and as you slide the masking slider to the right, it's more selective in terms of edges. So it will just apply the sharpening to the most detectable edges. So I usually go pretty high in the masking. I just want to apply the sharpening to the key edges. So I'm gonna unclick the Alt, keep it around 78. This way, this allows me to get the amount on the sharpening much higher than normally I would be able to do without the proper masking. So if you zoom in, we like at 70. So this will be without sharpening. It's a little bit softer, and then we bring a little bit the sharpening here, and you can see that only the edges are being sharpened, not much of the skin, barely anything. So let me just zoom out. And this is the photo. Noise reduction, tiny bit, since as you can see here, we were shooting at ISO 250. And just a quick note on the setting. So as you can see, I was f2.8 on 250 of a second, ISO 250, and I was using the 70-200 lens at 155 millimeter, and this I was using my Canon 1DX camera here. That's why the noise reduction is as minimal here, since the ISO is so low that we shouldn't see any noise here. For the colors, pretty standard within with Canon cameras. I like to reduce the saturation of the skin a little bit, so I usually just bring back the oranges a little bit down, depending on the photo. I sometimes do -5 or -10, and I added the luminance of the orange. So I just made the skin. You can see the skin is is slightly brighter here, and I did the same with the red. So it just brings up a little bit the lipstick and the skin. In the hue, I didn't touch it here at all. No split toning, no lens correction here, and no effect, any dehaze or anything like that. No vignetting. I used the standard processing 2012 current and Adobe standard color, so I didn't actually I did touch a little bit here the red saturation, so just to further reduce the reds in the skin. So you can see that if you like completely unsaturate, it just really affects the skin a lot. So I just slightly bit of undersaturation on the reds here. Nothing here on the presets, and that'll be it. So that's all we did in the in the raw converter, just to give a good basis for our photo. So I'm just going to click done now. So this is what we started with. So this is what we got out of Adobe Raw. So the first thing I did in this photo, I ran the Portraiture plugin for some skin cleaning and basically evening out the tonality of the skin. The Portraiture is pretty powerful, but it's very easy to overdo it. So let me show you how usually I ran Portraiture. So first, so now in the Portraiture, I do the color sample and I select this the color of the skin, and here on the right side gives you the preview what colors are selected right now for skin smoothing. So I try to make it try to see which one will give me the best coverage. So now it's selected. I do on a softness, I do either between 0 and 3. I don't go ever above 3 to keep the skin still with the texture. And then I bring the sharpness +2, so just to give a little bit of a, whatever was softened, to give a little bit of a kickback. I play usually with the thresholds. This is, let me zoom in to 100% here. So you see how what it does with the skin. It's still, you can still see the texture of the skin, so it doesn't make the skin plastic, but it does clean up the tonality, the gradation between the shadows and highlights. And let me show you, if you go to 0, it basically doesn't do anything, and as you increase the thresholds, it start to affect more and more. If you go too high, then this is where it's becoming too plastic. So somewhere around, depending on the photo, depending on the details, I want to have a pretty good texture in the skin. So this is everything that we do in Portraiture, and of course, this is not high-end skin retouching or high-end beauty or fashion retouching. This is really something fast that we can do on a larger number of photos, especially when we process photos for weddings. We cannot go into this really high-end retouching and at every pore level, because we would never finish a wedding if we spent an hour or 3 hours on one photo. So this is just a nice cleanup, a way to clean up the skin without spending tons of time. So this was the first step. Let me just zoom in a little bit. So this is before Portraiture, this is after Portraiture. So it's very subtle, but it does even out the skin nicely. The next thing is what we did here. It's under, I call it under eyes, but basically it's you see this a little bit of darker skin under Sasha's eyes. So I just wanted to clean it up a little bit. I don't want to remove it completely, but I wanted to lighten up. So this is before and after. And let me show you how what's the easier way to do it. So I'm gonna stamp visible. So we do it by Shift Control Alt E. Yeah, so this will basically create a new layer where it combines all the visible layers and put it into one single layer. So now we're gonna take the clone tool, so the clone stamp tool here. We'll make it to lighten. So lighten is here, and we'll make it probably like 25 or between somewhere 25 and 30%. So we'll make the brush a little bit smaller. We'll sample it in the brighter skin or brighter part of the skin, and just very softly just do a couple of times. And you can sample in different parts to to make it more even, so that that the transition is smooth, right? And then you have when you do it, you have to definitely zoom out to see how this looks, because you definitely don't want it to be locked in a zoom and then just see, and then it looks completely off. So this is you have to do it very delicately, just a few times, brush it, and just to remove the because the darkened skin, because if you do it too much and you start sampling too much of the underlying skin, it's just becoming too blurry. So you have to be very careful that this part doesn't come too blurry, so you still keep the texture on the skin. So this is even a little bit too much, so I can just bring down the opacity of this layer to make it a little bit more natural. So we want this still to be there, but we just want to soften it, because if you remove it completely, this darken under eyes or any skin lines like this, it will just become completely unnatural and will not look like a real person. So this is what we did here. You can see we removed it, but it's still there very softly. Okay. So the next thing, we used an adjustment layer of selective color, and you add a selective color adjustment layer by going to the icon here for adjustment layers and select the selective color. So this is the color that we did here, and you can see this is after, before, after, and before. And let me show you what we did here in the selective color. So in the reds, we darkened the reds a little bit, so you can see that it just adds a little bit of a contrast in the skin, and added a little bit of cyan. And this is more to taste. I mean, there's really no clear formula here. I just added +5, and I mean, I basically slide those sliders and see what looks good. But it's really, maybe somebody knows a formula. I really go here by what I see, and then usually work with the red channel and the yellow channel. And the yellow channels, I did the same. I added +4 and a cyan. So I moved this, the sliders, like, okay, I somewhere around 4 or 5, it looks good. I dialed it down to with the plus to make the yellows a little bit darker as well. So this is what we did with a selective color, and this adjustment we did for the whole picture. I mean, for the whole photo. So we didn't do any selective masking here. So this is now with the color. So now we're going to focus on the lips and eyes. So let me first open the lips. So this is what we did with lips, and you will see this is again very subtle here. But what we did is first the select. So let me just undo these. The first one we did the color also with selective color. So you can actually, I'm sorry, this is not this channel, this is this one. So with the selective color, and we just added a little bit of a kick in the reds. So let me show you what we did in the red. So we reduced the cyan and we added magenta, a little bit of yellow, and make it a little bit darker. We did nothing in yellow, and let me see if we do anything in whites. No, nothing in whites, nothing in neutral, and I don't believe we did anything in blacks. Yeah, so everything here was done in the red. So let me just zoom in a little bit. Oops. So you will see that this is very subtle, and I masked out. If I remove the mask, so this will be if we apply this this selective color to the whole photo, but we wanted to just apply it to the lips. So if you want to just see the mask, if you press the backslash, this shows you how we masked out. So you can see that everything that is red is basically masked out, and everything that is visible is masked in. So you can see that we apply these adjustments only to the lips. I'm going to press backslash again to edit the quick mask mode. Also, if you want to see what the mask is, if you press Alt and then on the mask, so here on the mask, if you click on it, this will show you just what the mask is. So you can see that I just painted in the lips, to have the colors here. And this is before and after, before and after. So a little bit of red. At the corners of the lips here, and here, that there's a little bit of lacking of the lipstick. So what I did, I added this new layer, and I set this layer to color, and basically took a brush. So I took a regular brush, of course, make it much smaller. I sample the color somewhere here, and very soft, very softly I painted it here. Um, and I painted, the brush, I put it 100% opacity and 100% flow, and then I just reduce the opacity of the layer. You can see it's at 25%. Originally, when I had it at 100%, it looked like this. So obviously, very bad. But then once you start to reduce the opacity, it starts to look more natural. So this is just a very subtle, a subtle finish to the corner of the lips to make sure that that it's colored the same as the rest of Sasha's lips. Okay, so this is everything we did on the lips. Now let's move to the eyes. So with the eyes, we did two adjustment layers. We did one selective color and one color balance. So let me show you the first one. So selective color, again, we masked out. If I press the backslash, you will see that we edited only the colors, the color of the eyes. So we mask out everything here, and we just painted in the eyes. So let me show you what it does before and after. So this is before and this is after. So I just lighten it up a little bit, and this is not with dodging and burning. This is really just playing with the colors. So you can see I put in the reds, I removed completely the sign to the opposite and added magenta and added the blacks, right? So really, played some extreme adjustments, to with the selective color to basically give me the lightness, to get the details of the eyes here. And the second adjustment layer that I did is the color balance. Let me just turn it on. So this is just to add a little bit of a color to the eyes of Sasha. So what I did here, I just add some cyan to in color balance, added some green, and added some blue in the midtones. I don't believe I did anything in the shadows, and let me just double check that I did in the highlights. So everything was in the midtones, and this is before and after. So I just wanted a slight, I didn't want to make it completely unnatural. I just wanted very subtle coloring. And again, I reduced the opacity of this layer. This was originally at 100%. So you see it's completely fake and horribly looking. So you overdo what I do usually. I overdo it, and then I just reduce the opacity to see where I like it. So I did lower until I don't remember what I had originally, but I think around 25%. I think maybe less. Yeah, something like that. Let me just do before and after. Yeah, I think this is still a little bit too much, so let me just reduce it a little bit more. Yeah, I think this is good now. So if you do before and after on eyes, so this is before and after, it's just bring up the highlights of the eyes and also the the slight coloring. So this is what we had. We did the lips, we did the eyes. Now the final touch here in terms of editing, I did is dodging and burning. So I use the method for dodging and burning. I just create the 50% gray layer, and I paint with white and black on a single layer. To create a layer that you can do dodging and burn on, if you press Alt and then click on the new layer icon, so Alt and then click on the layer, it brings you the new layer dialog. So you can just call it dodging and burn, and then I select soft light for the dodging, and then this is when this option becomes available, filled with soft light, neutral color, 50% gray. So you just check it in, and it creates a new layer. Let me show you what the dodging and burning we did here. So you can see that mainly what we did is contouring the lips and contouring the eyes. So this is before and after, before and after. Let me just do just show this layer alone. So you can see the whole layer is gray except the contouring on the eyes. So you can see I did the darker around. So let me just show you in the where in the photo it is. See, so I did just lining around the eye, and then I just did a few lines around the eye just to make it brighter like this, so that it gives you a little bit more of a texture in the eye. And I did the same here on this eye. So darker around, and then a little bit of white lining to make it brighter within the eye. So you will see this is after and this is before and after. So just added a little bit more shape and contouring on the eyes. And then we did a very similar thing here with the lips. So these are the lips. So we did darker around and then brighter inside the lips. So that basically the lips look fuller this way. You can see that this is after and before. And when I paint on dodging and burning, on my brush opacity I always do 100%. And the flow I usually do 2%, 2 or 3%. So this is all we did with the dodging and burning. So just to show you before and after. And the last step that we did is the sharpening. The sharpening method that we use is the high pass. And let me show you how we do it. So first we do Control Shift Alt E to stamp visible. So as I said before, this creates a new layer that combines all the visible layer below into one single layer. Now after this, we're going to Image, Adjustments, and we're going to make it black and white. So basically completely desaturate this image. So now our stamp visible is black and white, so we don't want any contamination of colors when we sharpen. We change this layer to soft light. So, and then we go to filter, other, and high pass. And you can see now that it starts, it's already, much sharper. So, I mean, you cannot do before and after without the sharpening, but I usually like to keep it somewhere between 3 to 4 pixels, depending on how big the file is and how big the face is within the frame. So, and you can always reduce the opacity of the sharpening layer. So I believe on this one I did only 3.3. So this is you see, this sharpens the whole thing, and including the skin. So let me delete now. This is what I just created and show you what the final layer was. So we did the sharpening here, and you can see in the mask that we selectively sharpen certain pieces of the photo. So let me show you what the mask is here. So everything white will show, everything black is hidden. And so you see that we sharpen just the eyes, the lips, and a little bit of texture in the jeans shirt. So if I do just backslash while clicking on the mask, that shows you that what we sharpen here. So the eyes, the lips, the teeth, the eyelashes here, the eyebrows, and the part of the jean jacket here that has a little bit of texture, so that I can you can see it better. So this is before and after. Let me zoom in at 100%. So this is before and after. So a little bit of details in where we want the viewer to be focused on. And this is the whole editing of this file. So to recap what we did, the first layer. So let me just do the first layer visible. So this is what we started with. The first step, we ran Portraiture just to smooth a little bit the skin without making it too smooth. So we just wanted to still keep the texture, but the tonality is a little bit more evened out. The next thing what we did is just remove the slightly darker colors under the eyes. So this is this layer. The next step, we did the overall selective color adjustment just to make the colors a little bit the way I like it. Then we did the adjustments on the lips. So first we did selective colors on the lips to make it a little bit redder, and then we did the patching on the corners of the lips here where the makeup was missing. With the eyes, what we did first is we did selective color to just brighten them up a little bit. and then we make a slight coloring to the eyes. So this is after and before and after. After we did the eyes, we did the dodging and burning on both the lips and the eyes. We kept the skin, because it was it's a beauty lighting that we use here with the umbrella slightly above Sasha's face. You see the little bit of a butterfly shadow under the nose. So that's why, it's the most pleasing light to the skin. So that's why we didn't have to do much of the dodging and burning on the skin, because the skin is already very nice and beautiful looking without any blemishes. And just a reminder that we use the Phottix Odin II trigger and the Mitros Mitros Plus speedlight in the Phottix Studio umbrella. I believe it's 40 inches, right above Sasha's face. So if you would like to see how we shot it, just go back to our previous video. I'll provide the link in this video, so you can see all the details how we did it. And then the last step after dodging and burning, we did the high pass sharpen just on the eyes and lips. So this is all the edit that we did on this file. Please subscribe to our channel and like this video so that you'll be notified when we post new videos. I hope this video was informational and you learned something new. If you have any questions or any recommendations you would like us to cover, please leave a comment, and we'll be more than happy to provide any additional information about how we edit or shoot our photos. Thank you so much, and please stay tuned.